a special relationship, I would call it, with a country like China, the second largest economy in the world. In consolidating this relationship, we were able to reach further agreements, and this time round we signed 8 agreements that build up on many other agreements that we have signed. And there were quite a number of other commitments that we made that signify the great importance of the relationship between China and South Africa. And I do believe that that forms a solid foundation that enables you as business people to be able to invest and know that you invest on the back of the good relations between the two countries. South Africa and China continue to cooperate and be great partners in a number of other international fora. BRICS is one forum where we cooperate closely, and President Xi Jinping, myself, and other leaders were able to oversee the welcoming of additional new members to BRICS last year. We also cooperate in the G20, and in our discussions, he was very pleased and very supportive of South Africa's 2025 presidency of the G20. We also cooperate at the United Nations, and indeed in many other international forums. So in many ways, you can say that South Africa and China are joined at the hip as we are able to cooperate in a meaningful way, in a very trustworthy manner. And this forum also takes place on the margins of the summit of the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation. FOCAC summit commences tonight and tomorrow, and it brings together many African leaders who continue to deepen their own relationships with China. So China continues to play a key, mutually beneficial relationship with many other countries on our continent, and we are truly grateful for that. Your business forum, which you've just held, is an opportunity for engagement that will, in the end, improve trade and investment between the two countries, but using the good relationship between China and South Africa as a strong foundation. South Africa and China have vibrant, diverse, growing economies. The Chinese economy has been growing exponentially for many years, and our economy has been having anemic growth, but we aspire to grow, yes, at the pace and the level of the Chinese economy in time. But it is also based on a wealth of opportunities for businesses wishing to expand into new markets. China is currently South Africa's, as we all know, largest trading partner, and bilateral agreements between China and South Africa have increased by 1/3 since 2019. South Africa exports mainly minerals and agricultural products to China and imports largely manufactured products from China. President Xi Jinping, in my meetings with him, has continuously expressed the wish that South Africa could export manufactured goods to the large Chinese market. It remains a wish that he has even tagged a number 2. I had 300 billion being mentioned by my sister earlier. We are seeking to shift the structure of our trade profile and deepen our investment relationship. South Africa has one of the most advanced and diversified economies on the African continent. It has a vibrant business environment, as many of you will know, and a strong regulatory framework. It has a diverse, competitive, and well-regulated financial market. I was very pleased to hear CEO of Hisense South Africa reporting very energetically here on stage and demonstrating that she has been a witness to many of the developments as she has seen how her company has expanded from a no-brand company to a respected brand. But she also reported that there were uncomfortable discussions. But as she reported here, she did not make me uncomfortable. Actually, I felt quite enthused, and I'd like to shake your hand when we finish here. South Africa has one of the most welcoming business environment. We are a country of enormous growth and development. We are advantageously placed for companies looking to expand into the rest of the African continent, as Hisense has demonstrated and shown. Many Chinese companies have invested in South Africa, and many others have shown a keen interest to invest. There have been distinct moves into sectors such as manufacturing, banking, textiles, mining, and agriculture. Among the more significant investments was the investment by the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, which took a sizable stake in Standard Bank in the early years. Chinese electronics manufacturer Hisense entered the South African market in a much earlier period as well, and now it is using the base that it has built in South Africa with the commitment of investments that it has made to export into the rest of the continent. And other Chinese flagship companies such as ZTE and Huawei Technologies are also expanding their presence in South Africa, but using South Africa as a springboard, as a gateway into the rest of the continent. Since the start of our investment drive in 2018, Chinese companies have made investment pledges to the value of well over 18 billion South African rands in manufacturing, in resources, in finance, agro-processing. This is the equivalent of $1 billion. We express our appreciation to these commitments and for China's continued support for our investment drive. And it is at this point that I'd like to invite more Chinese companies to attend our investment conference, where they can come and talk about their desires and their wishes to invest in the South African market and interact and engage with other South African businesses that are continuing to invest in our economy. In the last 6 weeks, a number of Chinese have increased to support their own expansion in the investments that they have made in South Africa. These investment commitments are testament to the resilience of the South African economy and the many opportunities for foreign and domestic investors. And it is up to us to seize these opportunities and to take the economic relationship between our two countries to the next level. I say so with a great deal of confidence because South Africa too has entered a new era, an era of enhancing clear conditions, better conditions for investments in our country. We've embarked on a clear path of reforms, as Minister Tau was saying, with the new government that has been formed, a government of national unity, which is an inclusive government where a number of parties are working together for the interests of developing our country. We do believe that it is a new era, just as the strategic partnership that we've entered into with China in the new era is a novel development. So South Africa, in many ways, becomes more attractive in the sense that the reforms that we've embarked upon are going to speed up. They are going to be much deeper and much more meaningful and create a much clearer, conducive climate and environment for businesses to invest. And I would even say to my sister from Hisense that even those uncomfortable discussions will soon become very comfortable. And therefore, we invite everyone to come. Now, as we embark on our reform process, we too will be opening up our economy. We will be looking at new sectors of our economy. For instance, we'll also look at things like electric vehicle sector, renewable energy, green hydrogen, and energy storage. Yesterday, I had the occasion to visit Shenzhen, and we were dazzled by the enormous changes that have taken place in Shenzhen over a period of time, 40 years or so. But we were particularly deeply impressed by going to a car manufacturing company, electric vehicle manufacturing company, and we informed them that as part of our reforms, we are now going to focus on a sector like electric vehicles, and that whetted their appetite. It is further, our country has further opportunities in infrastructure. As Minister Tau was saying, our reforms are deep, and they are going to be overarching. We are going to be looking at how we spread our infrastructure layout, and yes, in manufacturing as well, how we address some of the constraints and the red tape that many investors come across, including things such as making our visa regime a lot better. And I think that's one of the things that makes business people in Chinese uncomfortable. And we're going to be able to address that so that when you come to South Africa, you come in a place that is much more welcoming rather than the restrictions that we have had. So we are on a journey. And I was also pleased to hear from President Xi Jinping that China has also embarked on its own journey of reforms. So as two countries that are joined at the hip, as I said, we've embarked on journeys. Different journeys there might be, but journeys of reforms, of repositioning the directions of our economies, and in our case, to seek to engender more quality growth going forward, a growth that will be able to address the challenges we face. We face enormous challenges of unemployment in South Africa, with almost 12 million people unemployed. We also face a challenge of inequality, an inequality that stems from our past, where the past rulers of our country designed a system and an economic system that relegated the majority of the people of our country to a status of inequality. But we also face the challenge of poverty, how we should address poverty. And we are deeply impressed with the manner in which China has been able to lift so many people out of poverty and has built an economy that has continued to grow. Many lessons for us on a number of fronts. And we have seen how China's transformation as a major economic powerhouse has many lessons for us and which we can learn from. We seek to achieve a similar transformation in our economy. Chinese companies will find there are innumerable business opportunities to manufacture products in South Africa using our excellent industrial experience and capabilities and infrastructure. We plan to move from being a large importer of manufactured products to being a major exporter. And in this regard, President Xi Jinping's wishes and my wishes are aligned, because that is the direction that we both want to see South Africa moving. We have seen this happen in our automotive sector. We have ambitious plans to modernize our infrastructure by investing in the expansion of our ports, in our rail, and in our roads network. And that is part of our reform process. We are on a path to revolutionize our energy sector in pursuit of a low-carbon, climate-resilient economy. We are actively seeking investment in the energy sector with a particular focus on renewable and green hydrogen. In Shenzhen yesterday, we met a number of power energy companies that have invested in South Africa and are also keen to further their investments there. Now, China has a proven record in developing innovative renewable energy solutions, which we heard a lot about yesterday. Together, we can create sustainable and environmentally friendly energy solutions that can benefit both our countries. And by working together, we can create durable and sustainable value chains that are mutually beneficial, leading to job creation and economic growth. There are also vast untapped potential in technology. South Africa and China can collaborate to promote innovation, technology transfer, and skills development. This is an area which we witness once again where China has had exponential progress. By leveraging our respective strengths and exploring new avenues of collaboration, we can create mutually beneficial partnerships between the two countries. Our focus must now be on building stronger business relationships, promoting cultural exchanges and tourism, and creating a favorable business environment. The value of such cooperation extends beyond our two countries. And as part of our reforms, we will also be addressing one of the issues that has been raised, which I'm sure did come up here in your business forum discussions, the issue of safety and crime in South Africa. We are taking dramatic steps to address this challenge because in the past it has been raised as a constraint for Chinese businesses to invest in South Africa, much as a number have already invested. Part of our reforms have to do with precisely that, to address criminality and to ensure that when Chinese businesses invest in South Africa and bring their people to South Africa, they are safe and confident that they will conduct their businesses in a successful manner. Now, African economic integration is becoming a fast reality. The value of cooperation goes right across our continent. The growth of the South African economy will be pivoted also on the success of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which opens up access to a market of over 1.3 billion people. Now, this in many ways creates enormous opportunities to expand production on the continent and to stimulate much greater economic growth. We're rather pleased that a number of Chinese companies that are steeped in the manufacturing sector are already taking advantage of this and utilizing the platform that is being created by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and using South Africa as a very strong base to export, to manufacture and export their businesses out of South Africa. In conclusion, let me thank you for your participation in this business forum. I can see not only with the number of people who are gathered here, but also with the issues that were covered as reported, that indeed there's a great deal of interest on both sides. And we are one unique country where investment flow is not one way. There are a number of South African companies, as I had David Ferreira reporting here, that are invested from South Africa in the Chinese market. So there is mutual interest in our two countries and two business people to invest in each other's country. And the trade is two ways as well, although we still need to balance that. So we are joined at the hip, and that is why I say South Africa and China, having concluded this all-round, comprehensive, strategic, cooperative partnership between President Xi and myself, it lays this great foundation that we can all utilize to speed up the processes of investments, of business dealing, of trade between our two countries. So all this calls on us to work together to seize this opportunity as business people and continue to build a more prosperous future for our respective peoples in China and in South Africa. I thank you.